Thank you very much there to a colleague do for that package. Now, pay parity in sport is a hot topic of discussion, and even though small strides have been made around the world, there's still a sizable gap between salaries earned by male and female athletes. From Momentum, we have Charlotte Nsubuga-Mukusa. Good evening, Charlotte. Thank you very much for joining us on Sports Live. I pronounced it correct, yes?
You didn't. Mukasa at the end there.
Apologies,
yes,
Mukasa.
It's all good.
Apologies, Charlotte.
Good.
I think the conversation, as we're discussing off camera, the pay gap and salary gap, it's not only, yes, we know it's in the workplace, well documented, nobody can deny that. The reality is, in sports, it's possibly even a shambles. Let me just be blunt about it. You've got a Banyana, for example, South Africa going to a World Cup. In the past, some of these girls, they earn something like 5,000 Rand for a match, where their male counterparts just rocking up at camp at 60,000 Rand. And I'm not saying let's compare the two, but the reality is they do the same job. And will we get to a point where this is no longer a conversation?
I don't know if it's always going to be a conversation, because I think we have to also be cognizant of societal realities. You know, the Women's Sports Foundation released statistics, and they said when a girl reaches the age of 14, obviously she's developing and she starts cueing to her community that she's becoming a woman. And even if she's a talented sports athlete, she is taken out of sports and told to go home after school, clean dishes, wash dishes, or attend to brothers and sisters. So even a girl in the rural areas who has the potential of commercializing her sport or her talent isn't encouraged by umalume or the community to say, look girl, you've got something in here, and there's potentially the next Caster Semenya coming from here. So there are a lot of realities beyond just a woman who are currently in sports. We also have to think of the young girl that she was or is still becoming. So there are societal realities that we need to address if we're really going to attack this topic of the gender pay gap in the workplace, but also on the field of sports.
Yeah, I mean, I think this year is possibly one of the most important years, and I'm surprised the topic didn't come up quite early in South Africa. In particular, we hosted the Under-19 Females World Cup. We had the senior, well, of course, cricket, the Senior Women's Cricket World Cup. Banyana going to a World Cup. We're hosting the Netball World Cup. So
I hope you're going.
Well, no, not Banyana. I hope so. I hope the boss are watching. You know, Charles would like me to go. You know, and the question then came in once again. Even with rugby, we have a female rugby team who won the African Championship. They were out, I think, in Madagascar a couple of weeks ago. So our female sporting heroines are out there. They're doing the country proud. We fill the stadia, in particular when a Banyana plays. It's enjoyable to watch. It's not as testosterone driven as the male sport. So it's sometimes I would say that it's good. You can even take the kids and family there. It's not every day that you can take your kids to a football match when men play.
You know, that's the wonderful thing across the globe, not just in South Africa. Every time there's a women's sporting team on the field, families come out. It's a time that we don't only unite the country, but we bring the family construct together. So I advocate for it. I mean, we support the Momentum women's cricket team. And for the first time in South Africa, on home soil in Newlands, we filled up the stadium. Every single seat was sold. So this premise that we can't get a return on investment, whether you're a corporate or you're an NGO, you can't get something out by women playing sport, is a myth. And I'm glad that women's sporting teams, not just at a provincial level, but at a national level, are showing that women are worthy from a talent point of view, from a commercial point of view, but also in terms of giving back to society. We have a power behind us that maybe men's sport doesn't have.
Yeah, in fact, I must commend Momentum on that. You've stuck with the ladies, with the women cricketers through thick and thin. I mean, one could fairly say they would not have gone so far because, one, there are no professional leagues in South Africa, whether it's football, cricket, in any sporting code. Let's be honest. Yes, we know that post World Cup, funds were allocated to a women's professional league. I know they're still coming. We haven't seen much about it. We're still going to have Cricket South Africa talk about this. But the question then comes in, what is it about South Africa, or maybe let me not generalize, what is it about the world over that we tend not to want to invest in females in sport? What is it about not wanting or not caring to let the girl child, as you said earlier, be, go out and explore, go out and be whoever she wants to be at age 12, 13, and forget that they want to be wives. Maybe they don't want to be wives. Maybe
no, they don't want to be wives. Not at first. But I will tell you something. You know, it is difficult for a corporate to sponsor when you're not getting a return on investment, and that's why I am provoking and challenging other JSE listed corporates to actually understand the long game and the national cause. If you're going to look at the immediate, you're not going to be able to see the runway of the future and what sports can do, you know, for the country at large. But that's why we've got this, you know, microsite called #OneMoreFan. It's not about momentum. It's not about cricketing code. It's about saying, guys, what is the power of the fan? Just one more fan watching super sport. Those eyeballs get counted, and it's about them understanding this gender pay gap thing. You think you can't do anything about it, but you actually can. Every time you flick that remote, your eyeballs are being counted by, you know, SABC. And the more eyeballs that watch women in sport, like men, the more that we start to flush the sporting economy. And if we flush the sporting economy, that money goes from TV to administration, to coach, and eventually to the pocket of the woman athlete. So it's about understanding the power of flicking the remote. Just watch the game.
In fact, what you're raising, you know, goes a long way, because, as you rightfully said, the more, you know, we keep our eyeballs on females playing sports, corporates jump on board.
Of course.
And return investment, you mentioned it. We're running out of time, but I have to ask this question. Sometimes corporates have to bite that bullet, so to speak, for the greater good, inverted commas. And I say greater good, inverted commas, because at the end of the day, corporates are, you know, you have to have return investment, so to speak.
Yes. I think you need to have women who enter those boardrooms that make every single decision maker understand the long game. I think you need to be able to advocate that the marketers of all these teams, whether it's the F&B supporting rugby, Momentum supporting cricket, or whatever the case is, make sure that marketers do their bit in terms of educating South Africans in terms of the power behind this topic called the gender pay gap. And I think that athletes, it's a call to athletes out there, if you are not selling yourself, if you don't have the self-esteem to say, hey, I'm woman of the match and I've got so many people watching me at this point in time. I was just want
to say, it's also important that our ladies as well, and I say that, you know, let me take that back. I've learned over the years, you don't, as a man, you don't say our women, our ladies. It's also important that the women, the ladies out there who are involved with sports, and it's not being politically correct, it's actual fact, because no man owns women, but the women out there feel appreciated, that we also go out and support them, because it starts at home.
Of course, it starts at home. They too need to be recognized, but athletes also need to do their part to attract brands. I always say you need to bend it like Beckham. He's retired, but he's still making money. So you've got to be able to build your brand. So as marketers, we have a role in educating our women athletes to say, how can I commercialize my social media presence so that it actually has currency, so that after I've retired, I can still bend it like Beckham and make money. So back to the role of the marketers, back to the role of corporates, beyond just signing women of the match, we've also got to educate.